Welcome to The Explainer. So today, we're unpacking what is literally one of the most crucial financial leaps you're ever going to make. We're talking about moving from simply saving your money to actually investing it. We're going to break this all down step by step, cut through that overwhelming feeling, and really figure out how to confidently take control of our financial futures. Let's get right into it.
Okay, let's dive into this. We've got a clear path today. First, we'll look at the problem with saving only. 2. Math versus psychology. 3. The path to investing. 4. The magic of compounding. And finally, reframing market crashes.
Picture this for a second. You finally did the responsible thing. You started saving money every single month. You know, a little bit here, a little bit there. You're feeling super disciplined, financially mature, and you open up your banking app to see a really solid $10,000 sitting right there in your savings account. You should feel absolutely great, right? But then, you look a little closer.
That 10 grand?
Yeah, it's probably earning something like 0.5% in interest. Which means, after leaving that money sitting there safely for an entire 12 months, you've made a grand total of $50. That is barely enough to buy a decent dinner out. Meanwhile, you keep hearing everyone talking about stocks, compound growth, building real wealth, and you kind of start to wonder, wait, am I doing this wrong?
Well, that brings us to section 1, the problem with saving only.
Look, saving is an absolutely essential first step, for sure. But stopping there will almost never make you wealthy. Saving and investing actually have two completely different jobs. Think of it like this. Savings protect your money, but investments grow your money. If you only ever save, you're just completely missing out on the whole growth part of the equation.
Section 2, math versus psychology. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly why stopping at saving is so costly. Let's look at the math for a second. If you just leave that $10,000 in a typical savings account earning, say 1% interest, after 20 years, you've got about $12,200. Okay, but historically, the S&P 500 stock market returns about 10% per year on average over long periods. So if you invested that exact same 10 grand at 10% annually, after 20 years, you'd have roughly $67,000. It's the exact same starting money, but a completely different outcome.
So here's the absolutely crucial point. The biggest wealth gap out there isn't actually between the people who save and the people who just spend everything. No way. The true financial divide is between the people who stop at saving and the people who successfully make that transition to investing. But, you know, we get it. Making that transition is incredibly hard. And the bottleneck? It's not the math, it's human psychology. Saving just feels safe, right? Because you can look at your account and the number never drops on some random Tuesday afternoon. It doesn't fluctuate at all. Investing, on the other hand, well, it feels risky. Investments go up, they go down. And that emotional volatility is genuinely terrifying if you're worried about losing your hard-earned cash. It's a completely fair fear.
Which leads us perfectly into section 3, the path to investing.
The really good news here is that you don't have to sacrifice your sense of security to get started. Step 1 is simply to build a real emergency fund. Before you invest a single dollar, you need 3 to 6 months of living expenses saved up in cold, hard cash. This money, it stays right in your savings account. It is absolutely not for investing. It's for unexpected problems. You know, a job loss, a medical emergency, a sudden car repair. Because what most people don't realize is that the biggest reason people panic sell their investments is simply because they suddenly need the cash. A solid cash emergency fund actively protects your investments from the unexpected surprises of your own life. Moving on to step 2, and this requires a massive mental shift. You need to mentally separate saving from investing by creating 2 distinct psychological buckets. Bucket 1 is your safety money. This is that emergency fund we just talked about, and it does not move, period. Bucket 2 is your growth money. Now, this money is explicitly allowed to fluctuate because its entire job is to grow over time. Once you make this strict mental separation, your anxiety about market drops is going to dramatically reduce. Okay, step 3, start small. There's this huge misconception out there that beginners need thousands of dollars to start investing. You really don't. So many brokerage platforms let you begin with just 50 or 100 bucks. Your goal right now is not to make massive immediate profits. The goal is literally just building the habit of investing, because building that consistent habit matters so much more than trying to perfectly time the market. For step 4, we need to focus on simple investments. This is where beginners often get totally trapped. They think they need to day trade, or play around with options, or speculate on crypto. Please avoid that trap like the plague. The simplest investments almost always outperform the complicated ones over time. So index funds are a truly perfect starting point. Instead of trying to pick one winning company, which is super hard, an index fund tracks the overall stock market. That means you're investing in hundreds of companies all at once. It gives you immediate diversification, much lower risk, and steady long-term growth. And hey, you don't just have to take my word for it. Legendary investor Warren Buffett has repeatedly recommended low-cost index funds for most investors. Literally, when the world's most successful investor tells you to keep it simple, it's a very, very good idea to listen. All right, let's look at section 4, the magic of compounding. Now, what's really interesting about this is seeing exactly how consistent investing does all the heavy lifting for you. Just imagine you invest $300 a month into the stock market. If the market averages an 8% return per year, after 25 years, you'd have roughly $285,000. But look closely at the breakdown here. You only contributed $90,000 out of your own pocket. The rest of it, almost $195,000, comes purely from investment growth. That right there is compounding working tirelessly in your favor. Think of it kind of like this. It's a powerful visual metaphor. Saving money is like storing seeds in a glass jar. You are absolutely protecting them, they're perfectly safe, but nothing is ever going to grow in there. Investing, however, is like taking those exact same seeds and planting them in the soil. At first, it just looks messy, you don't see results immediately, but over time, with discipline, those seeds grow into something far, far bigger than you could have ever achieved by just keeping them stuck in a jar. Finally, Section 5, reframing market crashes. Of course, the psychology always creeps back in, right? And you're probably wondering, well, what if I start right now and the market immediately crashes? It's a great question, honestly, because market crashes are completely normal. They've happened dozens of times throughout history, but we need to reframe this completely. When the market drops, it simply means your consistent monthly investments are now buying more shares at lower prices. It's like a sale. Long-term investors actually benefit from these downturns, which very often lead to stronger returns when the markets eventually recover. And that's exactly why experienced investors stay calm. They are thinking in decades, not days. So let's quickly recap this actionable 5-step path so you have a really clear, memorable plan to take away from this explainer today. 1. Build a 3 to 6 month emergency fund in cash. 2. Mentally separate your money into safety money and growth money. 3. Start investing small amounts consistently to build the habit. 4. Keep it simple by focusing on long-term investments like index funds. And 5. Stay disciplined, don't panic, and give compounding the time it needs to work its absolute magic. If you remember absolutely nothing else from our analysis today, let it be this core truth right here. Saving money gives you stability, but investing gives you freedom. They are both incredibly essential parts of the equation. And the earlier you can securely combine the stability of saving with the growth engine of investing, the more powerful your financial future is going to become. It's a big shift, I know, but it is entirely within your reach once you break it down like this. So, I want to leave you with a provocative final thought to reflect on today. Take a real look at your own accounts. Are you currently sitting comfortably in the saving stage, or have you already started taking those brave steps toward investing? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep learning, and I'll catch you next time.